Economist Iraj Abedian says it's been a year of spectacular failures by large South African corporations. As part of our year-end series, we caught up with him to discuss the economic year that was and what he expects from 2018. Abedian has been outspoken about firms implicated in state capture, suggesting they should be held to account by investors. He resigned from the board of Munich Re when it chose not to drop KPMG as their auditors earlier this year. He says that no serious corruption can be sustained without collusion between private companies and politicians. Let's take a listen to that interview.
Our economy in 2017, by all measures, is a depressed economy. We've just come out of a technical recession. Policy has all but disrupted the foundation of economic operations insofar as policy certainty in terms of creating confidence and predictability. All of those measures have been disrupted by no other than our own policymakers. So the economy is depressed and neglected.
Is state capture a good phrase to maybe encapsulate what's wrong? Because it affects growth, it affects policy, I guess, if the people who should be making the right decisions are distracted.
I think state capture is the biggest symptom of the problem. The problem is much deeper and in fact much wider. The real problem is that we don't have competent, ethical and visionary leadership at the helm. It manifests itself in state capture, which is stealing of public money. It also has got other dimensions, which is neglecting and disrupting operations of sectors such as mining, such as energy, such as transportation, and broadly logistics. Now, a modern economy cannot operate, never mind perform, cannot operate without appropriate, efficient infrastructure. Now, you look at our economy, Eskom is in a complete shambles by all measures. Transnet is not much better. Our transportation infrastructure is again financially strapped. We look at our urban infrastructure, is completely in a state of decay. That is where PRASA and other players come in. You look at our energy policy, is all but confused. And so it goes. So that's the state in which the economy finds itself. Again, none of it is anything but lack of policy coordination and lack of skills and competency in leading a modern economy.
Could it all turn around if those leaders arise somehow?
The reality is you can destroy something with poor leadership in a short space of time. No matter who comes into power, it takes years to reconstruct it. For example, Eskom, you can devastate its financial viability in a matter of 2-3 years by stealing volumes out of the balance sheet and out of cash, but try to re-establish Eskom to be a financially viable, rated agency, it will take 7 to 10 years. Sure. The same applies to our urban infrastructure. You can decay it, you can destroy it through neglect or incompetence and or abuse of its resources in a relatively short space of time. Try to rebuild it. Sometimes it takes 10 years and longer. So we must be very practical that unless we get competent and clean ethical leadership, with that we'll need another decade to reverse the damage or to make up for the damage that unethical and incompetent leadership has left behind.
Wouldn't you say it could have been much worse, given the fact that we entered recession, but we came out of it? There were downgrades, but the rand has been pretty resilient. For some reason, investors are still interested in South Africa. In a sense, have we gotten off lightly?
Not really, I don't agree with that. Because today the rand is half the value that it has. So in real terms, South Africa Inc., rich and poor and middle class, has lost half of its revenue, half of its wealth in real terms.
Over what time period?
Since 2009. Okay. So 2009, the rand was 7 to the dollar. today is 14 to the dollar, 13.75 to the dollar. So we've lost half of it because of our own mistakes. In this concept that global recession happened in 2009, 2010, between 2002 and 2012, is history. Those days were the time that because of World Cup 2010 and because of the legacy, because of robust fiscal situation, we didn't go to recession. So we mustn't bring in this excuse that global situation, not at all. The global economy is doing, on average, now, better than its long-term growth, well above 3%. What are we doing? We are into technical recession. We are in growing, hoping to grow 0.5%. And we are in a fiscal straitjacket. So I don't think we should deny the fact or bring in irrelevant factors, which is no more than excuses, that global situation caused this. Our situation is all homegrown, is out of poor leadership of the economy.
The markets are hitting record highs this year. Does that just show the disconnect between the market and the real economy? There's absolutely no link anymore.
It is not a South African phenomenon, it's a global phenomenon. In the United States, you have an incompetent, unethical leadership like Trump. The markets, exactly. In US, in UK, you have the same. In Europe, you have the same. So there's an element of disconnect, but there's also an element that when markets disregard the structure of the economy, we have to worry, because it means the financial side of the economy is doing okay, but the real side of the economy is not, and that is just a matter of time that balloon is going to pop.